Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be focusing on Formik and the yup validation that it comes with. So yup is a pretty powerful validator that Formik can use, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be making this simple sign up sheet. Let me zoom in for us real quick right here. So we're going to make this sign up sheet that has a couple serious validations going on. So for example, everything's required. Notice the button is disabled. If we don't write a valid email, it will complain to us. Must be a valid email. If we write an email that's already taken, for example, test@gmail.com, that's taken. It says email is already taken. Passwords, it needs to be one uppercase, one lowercase, one number. Otherwise, if it doesn't, it starts telling us so, like such. And minimum 8 characters required. Now, let me write a password that I can remember. And the confirmed password must be the same. Look at that. So we are doing all of this using yup validation. And if we write everything, then this becomes valid. Let me just write 5 here. That's not taken. Now it's valid to submit. All right, so this is what we're going to be doing with yup. So guys, if you guys are new to Formik, please check out my Introduction to Formik series. In this short series, I explain the benefits of using Formik, and I go real slow with teaching guys all the setup for Formik. And notice that I'm using Material UI form elements here. It's kind of pretty, right? So in this video, we're not going to be explaining how to hook up Material UI form elements with Formik. However, if you guys are interested in that, I have made a separate short video, links in the description below for that one, to show you guys how to set it up like so, and to make very easy reusable components that hooks up Formik and Material UI. So again, links in the description below. But if you're not interested in that, just to get you guys all set up, because I do use Material UI in this, I will put a link to my GitHub, links in the description below again, where you could clone my repo here just to get the basic down. And once the video starts, you could start from there. I will explain it again once the video starts. But I'm just letting you guys know, if you guys are interested, please watch the video first. Otherwise, just clone this and you're ready to go. By the way, this is a TypeScript app. I think TypeScript is getting pretty standard in JavaScript and React. So that's why I made this with TypeScript. Notice we have interfaces here. We type all the form, the values and such. So if you're not comfortable with TypeScript, it's okay. I'm pretty sure you could just still follow along. But if you're not comfortable, I highly do encourage you guys to start using TypeScript, because I think it is a must in 2020 as a React web developer. But anyways, that's not the important thing in this topic. The important thing is yup validations. So on with the video. Hope you guys enjoy. Hey guys, in the last video, we made this little simple sign up form. We connected Material UI form elements with Formik. So this is not the point of this video. So I highly encourage you guys, if you guys are interested in the other video, please check it out. Links in the description below. And we will make something like this, exactly like this, as a matter of fact. And for those who's not interested in connecting Material UI with Formik, go on ahead to my GitHub account at angle943/Formik Material UI. Links in the description below again. And clone my app right here. Clone it and you will get this file right here. And once you run npm start, you should see this. So again, I'm doing this because I wanted this form to be somewhat decent looking without looking like crap, you know, the standard HTML form elements. So we use Material UI here. And so that we could, for this video, we could solely focus on yup validations. All right, so hopefully you guys have already done that and you guys have this sign up form right here. So let's just review real quick what happened. By the way, real quick, I forgot to mention, so this file that I'm looking at right here is in the app. So go into your source directory. Once you clone my file, go inside the components folder, and within the components folder, you will see this app folder. And within it, we are in index.tsx. So just make sure you're here, and we're only gonna be focused here from now on. And for the ones who's watched the video, let's just do this. Bear with me. This will just be a quick recap. So we're gonna be focused on the validations. All right, so we've typed our form values here. Currently, we only have two fields within our form. That is the name and the position, remember. They are both a string type. We've made the initial values of them because the thing about Formik is it always requires the initial values as one of its properties, right? And to connect yup validations with the Formik, we passed another prop called the validation schema. This is an optional prop that Formik requires, optionally require, I mean, and we have created the schema using yup, and we have that, where is it? Right here, sign up schema. So we gotta follow this little thing right here. We do yup.object.shape, and we list all the, so this is pretty much an object right here. We list all the keys. The keys are all the field names that our form has. And for the value, we just follow this yup way of doing things. So again, we could use this. Remember, this is important. We have to import yup as such right here. Import all as yup from yup. All right, so I'm gonna assume that you guys understand what's going on here. And just one final thing, this button right now is disabled and he will only be enabled once we have satisfied the criteria we have set up. In this case, these both are required. So now that it's blue, we could click and we could see our values that we typed in here. All right, that's good. So what I wanna do today is I wanna add a couple more fields here so that we can mess around with the yup validation system. So let's copy, go to our form here. Let's copy this Formik field, name. We're gonna make another couple more text fields. So let's copy one, paste one right below. I want one for email. Label will be email. I want one for password. Label will be password. And I want another one for password confirm. And the label will be confirm password. So these last two will be of type password. So let's just put that too, might as well. Type password and type password. I'm gonna use prettier on it real quick just to format it. So I refresh the page. Yep, there we go. All right, so we have this right now. Notice everything is required or supposedly required because we see the asterisks. However, according to yup and according to Formik, they're not actually required. So notice how the primary button is disabled. If we just write some name here and fill out some position, even though the other ones are not filled out, the button is enabled. And the reason for that is because we didn't tell yup, the validator, what the validation requirements of the other fields are. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So let's go ahead and type everything first. So let's go back to our interface. Again, the interface is the type of our form. And we gave it 3 additional fields, right? So let's put these here. I'm gonna put it in between name and position. Follow the order of the sign up form. Let's put email, which is a string. Password is also a string, right? These are all a string as a matter of fact. Password confirm is a string. And we gotta provide initial values for these as well. Email will be an empty string. Password will be an empty string. And password confirm will also be an empty string. All right, so I think that is done. Now, the only thing that is left to do is to put in validation schemas for everything. So I'm gonna start off pretty easy. Let's put it in between here. Be very careful with your commas and everything. Let's just write email. We know that that's yup.string. We're telling yup that it's a string type. And for everything just for now, let's just put the required method. And we will say the error message that we will display if they don't write anything, we will say, hey, look, it's required. Let's copy this and make one for password. Oops, sorry. Required. I gotta just change this one. Now let's make one for our password confirm. Make sure you're very careful with naming these because the name that you put in your initial values and your form value type and on the yup, the keys of the yup validator has to be identical with the name that you put as your inside your fields, like so. All right, so that is done. Now let's see if this form complains to us if we don't have any value here. So I'm just gonna tab out. Oh, it says required, tab out, required, tab out, required, tab, required, and required. And even if we now fill in these two, the button is still disabled because we have to fill out these. All right, so we did something, right? However, this is a pretty poor version of a validation system. For example, email, what's something that we want our email to have, right? We want it to be a valid email. So we want to somehow tell Yup or use Yup to make sure that the user inputs a valid email. Another thing that may happen is maybe we already have a list of emails that they can't use. Maybe this is like a sign up page for Facebook, for example. We don't want them to sign up a new account with an existing email address, right? So I'm gonna kind of pretend that we have a list of email address that's already taken. And if they try to input the same email address, we will forbid them. But before we get to that one, let's try to figure out how to let Yup know that this has to be not only is it a required field, but it is an email field. So I'm at this Yup website right here. Links in the description below. Is pretty much just a GitHub page for the Yup. And it tells you, first of all, there's a bunch of methods that we could use separated by the types. We have string here, number here, Boolean, date fields, array fields. Mix is just applies to every single one. All right, and the one that we are interested in is under the string. And the one that we're gonna use is this email one. I click it here, it says validates a value as an email address via a regex. All right, so that looks pretty good to me. So let's use that here. I'm gonna put it above the required for email and write email.email. And the message that we're gonna give them, if they don't write a valid email, let's just say, must be a valid email, like so. Let's see if that works. So I write some gibberish here. If I don't write anything, it'll tell me that it's required, right? However, if I write an invalid email, now it tells me it must be a valid email. So that's working. How about if we do write a valid email, for example, test@gmail.com. Oh, it no longer complains to us. So that seems to be working. This is a little bit of a tighter version of validation. It's pretty good. Now let's go back to my other case of, let's say we somehow fetched, let's pretend that we fetched from an API or the list of used emails, right? So I'm just gonna pretend that we fetched them successfully and put them above the sign-up schema. I'm gonna just declare an array here, and it will be a list of strings or list of emails that has already been taken. So let's just write email addresses. How about that? And it will be an array. Now, maybe the first one will be test@gmail.com. Second one will be test2@gmail.com. And third one maybe will be test3@gmail.com. Now, we want to somehow tell Yup that if you type in one of these guys right here within the email form, within the email field, then we're going to yell at them and say that the form is not valid. So what can we use? I'm going to go back to the Yup website. What can we use out of this gigantic list here to satisfy this? And the one that I am thinking of is, by the way, look at a lot of these names. A lot of these names, they should make sense, most of them at least. So what I do to solve this issue is I just read some of these. All right, so the one that I'm interested is under mixed. Remember, mixed applies for all of the field types. And the one that I'm interested in is not one of. Blacklist a set of values. Values added are automatically removed from the whitelist if they're in it. So this is what we want to use. What this takes in is an array as a first argument, and optionally a error message for the second one. So let's use that one here. We will say first an email must be an email, a valid email. And then after that, we will say must be not one of email addresses. Otherwise, we'll complain to them. We'll say email already taken. We've seen that message a lot before, right? So let's see if that works now. Remember, the blacklisted emails is test at Gmail, test2 at Gmail, test3 at Gmail. So let's try one of those. Let's first try an email that's not one of those. So abc@gmail.com. That works. No complaints. How about what if we change this to test? Oh, email already taken. What about test2? Email already taken. Test3's email is taken. So that's good. So we have satisfied the email requirement. So again, if you're using, if you're making an actual website, you're probably not gonna hard code a list of email addresses like this. However, you will fetch them from a backend API, and you can use that now as an array of the blacklisted emails. So this is where Yup gets pretty handy. Now let's take care of our passwords. Okay, so the first requirement for the passwords I'm thinking of is usually most websites, they have you write at least 8 characters, right, on the password. So let's do that here too. So ignore the password confirm for now. We'll deal with that later. Let's just deal with this password input. So we will say to give Yup a minimum requirement of a character length, we use a min. And by the way, we used that for name already in the previous video. So let's just use that here. We will say minimum. The first parameter is the length of the character that we need. And then we will say 8. We will say minimum 8 characters required will be our error message. No comma there. Now it's complaining to us. And why is it complaining to us? So I'm gonna see, oh, there was just a bug on WebStorm. Okay, I'm gonna refresh. Let's see if we get the error message. So I write 1, 2, 3. By the way, if I write nothing, it says required, right? But if I put 8, notice this complaint right here, minimum 8 characters required. But the moment we put 8, it goes away. So that's good. All right, so before we continue, I'm gonna add a little bit more requirements for our password, but it's kind of annoying not being able to see what we type here. So just for now, let's go back to our Formik and let's comment out the type password for both of them, for both the password and the password confirm, or these two. That way we could see what we type. And later after we're done, we'll just uncomment these out. All right, so the usual thing about modern age is we have these requirements for the password, right? For example, a pretty typical one that I see is you need at least 1 lowercase, at least 1 uppercase, and maybe at least 1 number. So that's one that I see pretty commonly, right? There's other ones too, like pretty crazy ones, but forget all that, and I hate those anyways. So let's just deal with those 3 requirements. We need at least 1 lowercase letter, at least 1 uppercase letter, and at least 1 number. So to solve that problem, I'm gonna first Google regex. Hopefully everyone here is familiar with regular expressions, aka regex. It's just pretty much a pattern matching for strings, and it will get the job done for us. So I'm just gonna Google password regex. Let's see what they come up with. It says here, use regex to test password strength in JavaScript. That sounds like our case. I will put the link to this in the description below. So if you guys are lazy to Google it, just check it out or just follow along with me. The one that I want right here is this. These 3. The string must contain at least 1 lowercase alphabetical character. That's what this tests. This one is the uppercase, and this one tests at least 1 numeric character. So these are the ones that I want. So let's go now and see how Yup will handle this. Let me just copy this. No, I'll do that later. All right, go back to the Yup validator and let's look through this big list here and see what we need to use. And the one that I want to use, I believe, is under string, I believe. And it is matches. Do you see this regex parameter here? So that's why I know that I have to use this one. It says provide an arbitrary regex to match the value against. And that sounds like our thing, right? So let's start first with the lowercase requirement, right? So I'm gonna use this matches along with this regex right here. So let's go to our password. Below our min requirement, let's put matches. The first one requires a regex. So we will remember in JavaScript, regex is always goes inside 2 forward slashes. I'm gonna copy this lowercase requirement here. That will be the regex that we pass as the first parameter. The second optional parameter is the message, the error message that we're going to give the user. We will say 1 lowercase required. How about that? I'm very inconsistent with my capitalizing of everything, but whatever, it'll get the job done. So let's go back to our app. I'm going to type all caps under email, right? No, not under email, under password. All caps. It says 1 lowercase required. So that's good. That's what we want. And let's see. Let's put this, so I think now is a good time to talk about the ordering of these requirements. So the one that's the first one closest to the key, like for example, for the password is a min right here, that one will always take precedence. So the ones that you want to take precedence, you always want to put that first. So I think this one is more important than the minimum of 8 characters. Because imagine they thought of everything, right? They thought of everything like, okay, oh crap, I gotta have at least 8 characters because like, look, they write something. Oh, not here. Sorry, password. They write something and they didn't get 8 characters. So now they're thinking really hard about 8 characters. So they finally came up with a very good password. And they write 8 characters and now it says 1 lowercase required. They're like, crap, I thought very hard for this. So that's why these orders matter. We want to let them know that 1 lowercase is required before we tell them that 8 minimum characters are required. That way, as they begin typing, it already tells them that 1 lowercase is required. All right, so we took care of the lowercase. Let's take care of the uppercase. And before we go on, I think one of the most important principles in coding is readability. Now, I don't know about you, but I hate seeing regex inline like this. So what I like to do for these type of things is I like to extract them out to a variable. And we will say lowercase regex is equal to this. Like that. And then we will just write lowercase regex here. Now, let's get the uppercase one. I'll give you guys a hint. We could go to the other website, copy from there, but it's just pretty much making these capital here. And we will call this uppercase regex. Whoops, not uppercase regex, but uppercase regex. And I talked about the order of these being important, but I don't think there's too much difference whether the lowercase or the uppercase comes first. It doesn't really matter, right? So we will say if the uppercase regex is not satisfied, then we will say 1 uppercase required. Let's see if that works. 1 uppercase required. And once we put it, now it gives us another complaint. So that's good. And we will say the number 1, finally, copy this. We will put numeric regex. And this is just going from 0 to 9. Copy that over here. And numeric regex as our regex, and then 1 number required. How about that? So I thought very hard. I came out with at least 8 characters password that has both lowercase and uppercase, such as PASS, like so. And then I tab away and it says 1 number required. I'm like, crap, okay, I'll give it some numbers. And now we have satisfied the requirements. All right, so I think now we have a pretty good validation system for the password. Now, the only problem, and by the way, this is so hard to type. Let's just redo this like that. So now let's talk about what we're gonna do with this confirm password. Because right now it's complaining to us that it's required, which is true. We have to put a confirm password in here. But the requirement that we have here is that we want it to be the same, right? But if we don't write it the same, it doesn't complain to us. So how do we fix this issue? So one thing that someone might do is just copy the requirements of the password and put it in the password confirm. I guess that will solve the requirement of it being 8 characters and making it have 1 number, 1 lowercase, 1 uppercase. But those aren't the only requirements we have for the confirm password. We want this field to be identical with the password field here, right? So that's not necessary. Don't copy this over to the password confirm, because as long as this field is equal to the value that the user has inputted in the password field, then it has satisfied its requirements. That's the only requirement it has other than it being required itself, right? So now how do we tell Yup within this object here, this sign up schema? How does he know what the value that this field has right now, that this input has? So let's go back to the Yup website. And the one that I want to use today is, I'm scrolling down, and within the API section, we have this, yup.ref. It pretty much gives you a reference of another field, and it gives you the value of the other field. So that's what I want to use here. So within the password confirm, above the requirement, we will say, let's think of another method that we want to use. Do you remember this? Where did we use it? Do you remember this not one of method we use for the email? Pretty much we're saying, okay, don't make it one of these emails right here. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to say it has to be one of something else. So this accepts an array, just like not one of. Let me actually go to that website, that page, one of. It accepts an array and an optional error message string, which we will use. But within the array, we only care about it matching with one thing, right? That is the value of the password field that they have typed. So how do we use that? We use capital yup.ref, and within the string, the path, we give it the name of our other field, like so. So this will give us the value that we have typed in for the password. And we're saying the password confirm must be this, right? Otherwise, if it's not, we're going to complain to them saying password must be the same. Let's see if that works now. Go back to our page, type in a very clever password here, which have satisfied all the requirements. Now, what if we didn't write the same password, maybe like that? It says password must be the same. However, we were like, okay, I'll go back, fix it. Now everything's working. We have that, and once we have satisfied everything, we click and it's done. So I just remembered something. I thought we were done right now, but we have an issue. Do you remember? Let's go back to our email. Do you remember this blacklist we have right here? We pretended we got a list of emails from the backend API, and we're testing it against all these, making sure that we don't have duplicates, right? And we could see that working. If you write test here, it says email already taken. But now we got a problem, because what if they wrote capital test@gmail.com? Now it's no longer complaining to us. But we want this to be case insensitive, right? We don't care if they wrote put capital here or lowercase or whatever. If they've used the email, then we should tell them that this email is already taken. So how do we take care of that? And let's go back to the Yup. And the one that I'm thinking about is this lowercase. So what this lowercase does is transforms a string and to a lowercase. And for all the preceding tests that we have, it tests it against the lowercase version. So within the email, let's write as the first method chain, within the chain, we'll write lowercase, like so. Now let's see if that works. So remember before, like for example, test@gmail.com. It complains to us, right? Email is already taken. Before, it was okay with this one, but it's no longer okay with it. So this has solved the problem of it being case insensitive. So we could just case insensitive. So we could write any crazy casing, and it will tell us that email is already taken. So this is very important to do on a real website. Now, some people might be afraid, oh, but what if this lowercase method actually transforms the value of our input to all lowercase? But that's actually not the case. Let me show you guys. Justin, password 123, password 123. Position is front end. I submit. If you look at this, I can't really zoom in here, so sorry, but Oh, I didn't do it. Let me actually put capitals here, right? Because we were afraid that it might lowercase everything like that. It still has it as uppercase, the capital adjusted. So this only transforms everything to lowercase just to check for the validations. So now we are done. We have successfully created this sign-up form. All right, so hope you guys enjoyed this. The next time we meet, I will show you guys how to deal with arrays. What I mean by that is maybe we'll have like a little button here. We could add interests, like what are the, or maybe even the programming languages that we could do. So you might know one programming language, you might know 2 or 3 or 4 or more. We will make an option that we could click on it. We could add input fields and we could write whatever. And we will put validations within each of them. So that is a bit more complicated to do. I will show you guys next time that we meet. And before we finish off today, let's uncomment these passwords here, like so that suspicious users, people behind their computers can't see our password any longer. There we go. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining me again today. My name is Justin. I release these type of programming content on a daily basis. So if you like my content, please click like below. And if you dislike it, please click dislike and let me know in the comments below what you not liked about it. And if you want more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. I will be making kind of a standalone part 2 of Formik Yup validation soon, and we will deal with field arrays then. So please stay tuned for that. I think it's a very valuable thing that's not very readily found on the internet, how to do such a thing. So I will make a video for that. Please stay tuned and I will see you guys next time.